Hi, I've got something you'll be interested in. Those performance upgrades we discussed after the last race. They're on the car and the data looks promising. Take a look at the details.
You're not kidding anyone, Chris. No one remembers what has happened in the last 2 episodes. It's been so long that if you noticed in the previous shot, Chris was actually going grey. That is how long it has taken for this career mode season to progress. I'm sorry guys, but welcome to another episode of F1 2017 career mode. We have a major front downforce upgrade going on the car. That was a much awaited part. We now head off to the Belgian Grand Prix, where hopefully we can challenge McLaren Honda. As of the last few races, we've been absolutely not in the same league as them, but we turn up to this race, and all of a sudden, Fernando and Stoffel last place in Q2. 2.5 seconds slower than Daniel Kvyat in 13th place, which makes absolutely no sense. They were on the pace in Q1. I think they topped the session. I was very, very close behind. Q2, nowhere. What's going on with them? When we look at the race director, they've only done the one time. I don't really know what's going on there. I did nothing out of the usual to what I normally did. I think what happened there is the game just kind of simulated the session somehow, as if the upgrades weren't applied, and so they're down the order, which is actually really frustrating because I was really looking forward to a battle with McLaren Honda, duking it out for the race win, because I actually feel like I was at their level this weekend, which is really annoying. But here we are for Q3. Sebastian Vettel has put in a really competitive pole time, 142.5. It's going to take some beating for me to get near that marker, but as you go through the final kind of chicane there, the bus stop chicane, open the DRS, up to the line, max fuel mixture, it wasn't enough for pole position. The difference was 0.07 of a second. So there you go. Yeah, Seb was really, really fast. I can't remember what I did in league racing. I don't know if it was 42s or 43s. Something tells me it was 42s. In which case, we're at a very similar level to what the online cars can do, which is actually quite weird because we're 4 seasons in now. And yeah, all these upgrades haven't really amounted to much, at least at the front of the field. But P2 it is for this Belgian Grand Prix. We've set up the car to be rapid in a straight line, such as, I'm using my league racing setup, so 1-3 or 1-4 wings. We should be very potent on the straights. Overtaking will be quite easy to perfect. The middle sector might be difficult, but for overtaking we should be pretty set. Let's go to the race. Thank you very much, Jeff. Hopefully we won't be needing that runoff today, but you never know what might happen at the first corner. Welcome to the Belgian Grand Prix. One stop will be on the cards. We'll be switching to the soft compound tyres after 5-6 laps and running that to the end of the race. The one stop is faster, even though it shows there that it was slower, but once you remove that additional pit stop, you can see 7.2 seconds faster is the strategy that we're going to take on today. So we'll see how it goes. Both the McLaren Hondas starting down the order. I would have liked for them both to be at the front so that we can have a really awesome battle between ourselves, the McLarens, and Sebastian Vettel, but that's not the way it's gone today, unfortunately. But we'll make do with what we have. Here we go. 5 red lights for the Belgian Grand Prix, and we are underway. Not a great start. Oh, actually, I say not a great start. We take the lead of the Grand Prix heading into turn 1. Vettel takes the inside. I think we got forced wide by both the Mercedes cars there, and it's P4 with Kimi Räikkönen having a cheeky little look as we go up our route for the first time of 22 laps, side by side for the two of us. Valtteri and Hamilton really get a bad exit through there. We might even get Vettel too. Round the outside, we get squeezed off to the track, off to the grass, sorry. And there we go, we've taken the lead of the Grand Prix. Wow. what a start that was. The start was great, turn 1 not so much. Eau Rouge, we built the momentum, and then all of a sudden we just shot to the lead. That was awesome. Absolute slingshot, and the low downforce that we're running made us a slippery fish in a straight line. That is, yeah, that's how fast we were. That was incredible. 1-3 wings, thank you. Actually 1-5 wings I think I was running. Thank you very much. We've now taken the lead of this Grand Prix, and now from here, we should have the pace to run away with this one, hopefully. Looks like Sebastian Vettel, who was leading, as he's lost 3 or 4 positions there, so not a great start for him. But for us, our job is really just to get on with it. Just maintain the gap to the cars behind. If anything, try and extend it through the first stint. You can see a few ultra soft runners already stopping in this race. The 2 McLaren Hondas starting on the super soft tyres, not electing to make a pit stop, which might cost them later on in the race. They look like they're buried in heavy traffic at this stage, and they can't utilize the undercut to get out of this traffic, so they're having to do all this overtaking themselves. Here goes Alonso around the outside of Magnussen. These guys are only just inside the top 10 now, despite a lot of other people pitting. So yeah, not a great start for the McLaren Hondas. They're going to be lucky to get in the top 5 positions. A podium will be a stretch, but we'll have to wait and see. They're now starting to get some track position themselves now, as everyone else has started to pit. You can see now Stoffel flying up the inside of Fernando, and that'll be effective. I think it'll be like P4 or P5 or something in the race at the moment. But effectively, they're still going to be behind the Ferraris and both the Mercedes. That is Kvyat. So slow. Absolutely so slow on the straight. He must be running standard revs. We had slipstream DRS and rich revs to boot as well. We absolutely soared past him, and now the McLaren Hondas are flying past him as well. It's 3 wide now on the run to Blanchimont, and I think Fernando. No, he didn't get the position out of both of those guys. But yeah, crazy moments for those McLaren Hondas. For the rest of the race, we were set. We were absolutely comfortable. We were doing the 1-stop, and I believe most others in the field were doing a 2-stop, with the exception of the McLaren Hondas. They've actually got themselves up on the podium. Stoffel in second, Fernando briefly in third before Kimi Raikkonen overtook him to displace him off the podium. But yeah, what a race. We absolutely controlled it from start to finish. The gap in the end was like 15 seconds, and that was the race. That was the race. It really was that simple.
Fantastic drive, just fantastic. You deserved that race win.
Well, I'm thoroughly exhausted after the excitement of that race, but I'm sure it's nothing compared to our drivers here. They've worked hard to make it up there, and it's great to see them make their way out onto the podium.
So part of the reason why this video has been so late in me, uploading it to you guys, because of this race. Look at the timestamp, 8 minutes into this video, and the race is done. So I thought, this isn't really probably video worthy, especially after the lengthy break we've already had. So what we're going to do is we're going to go off to the next Grand Prix in Italy, and we're going to cover that as well. Simply because an 8-minute career mode video isn't enough. So we're going to do 2 in one go. Kind of reward you guys for the long break that has been this career mode series. I now want to press forward with this, because now it'll kind of be in line with my league racing stuff, and I can use this as like practice as well. So from here on out, I'm hoping to be a lot more regular with the uploads. But there we go, a win in Spa. It was pretty easy in the end, in all honesty.
Hi, how are you today? The improved package has arrived. We're having it fitted in time for FP1. Have a look at the factory report.
And now as we move on to Monza, we get a upgrade for the chassis, weight reduction, 2 kilos lost, and that'll make us maybe a tenth or 2 quicker across all tracks now, so that'll be a welcome change. We now cut to Q3 now, where we've obviously made it through, again running with our really low downforce that we've been running in the previous race, and also in the league races that I've done in the past few weeks. This, whole streak of competitiveness probably comes from my league racing as well, simply because I've done so many laps in practice. I think without that I might not have been faster than the McLaren Hondas in the previous race. But this is Q3, we come up to the line to set our final lap. It is only P5, and I only say final lap because simply we ran out of time at the end of the session to go out again. So a bit of a mistake there from me, and as well the lap itself could have been better too. So to be honest, I'm a little bit disappointed with that quali session.
We're almost ready to go then, and this is what the starting grid looks like for today's race. What a qualifying from Fernando Alonso. He starts from pole position, and it's Stoffel van Dorn in P2. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Hamilton, Bottas, a Red Bull, and Vettel, Raikkonen, Ocon, Perez, and Daniel Ricciardo, Grosjean, Hulkenberg, Kevin Magnussen, and Massa, Kvyat, Sainz, Jolyon Palmer, and Lance Stroll, Wehrlein, and Marcus Ericsson rounds off the grid.
So, we're on the grid once again. Familiar territory, second time in this video. You can see we've got technically a dry race on our hands. We're starting on dry compound tyres, but you look at the weather forecast and it's raining for the entirety of this race. So make of that what you will. I was trying from the outset to switch straight to intermediate tyres, but it was not letting me. Simply because of probably the rules, and the game probably thinks that it's too dry to switch onto those tyres. So yeah, we have an interesting race in prospect. I watched an AOR live stream from Spa like a week and a half ago, and they had a race like this where it was set to rain like pretty much the whole race, and I watched from their point of view that it never like crossed that turnover period or that crossover period where it was wet enough for intermediate tyres, and I just wonder whether we're going to get that kind of race again here today.
Fernando, the rain is extremely heavy in the pit lane now, so be careful.
Yeah, it's not only on the pit lane, mate.
It's all over the bloody track. So yeah, we're going to have a very interesting start to this race now. 5 red lights, and we are going to be running dry tyres on a wet track at the Italian Grand Prix. We're underway for this race. Really cautious off the start here. There's going to be absolutely no grip by the time we get to turn 1, so I'm going to take this very cautiously, brake earlier than the AI. A bit of a gap emerges on the inside, and we got the inside of Bottas mounting the curb, and I think we might try and attempt to move around the outside of Hamilton. He doesn't get a great exit there, and that's us up into P3. Really squirmy on the exit as well. We're going to have to lower that differential to calm down the rear end, because at the moment it allows us to go on the throttle a whole lot earlier. It gives us more power to the rear wheels faster, but it's not so good in the wet. We've actually also cut the chicane as well, so not a great start to this race. Despite gaining a couple of positions, we're already down 1 corner cutting token, so we'll need to be careful for the remainder of this race. But Fernando Alonso leads, Stoffel van Dorn P2, myself third. I think we've got, still both the Mercedes, 4th and 5th, Sebastian Vettel P6, and possibly Raikkonen for company behind him as well. But you can see again both McLarens squabbling for position, and again Stoffel van Dorn comes out on top. So as of late, Stoffel has really come of age in this season. For the second half of this season, should I say, because he only came in this season. But you know, Stoffel was getting absolutely dominated by Fernando. He's completely exposed, and now all of a sudden Stoffel has, I don't know, matured. He's found his rhythm. He's a lot more calm now in races, and he's really sticking it to Alonso, who looks really quite slow at this stage. It looks like he might even have a problem. I'm not too sure, but he doesn't get great purchase out of turn 2 there, and we go around the outside and into P2 in this Italian Grand Prix. This was the battle I was looking forward to in the previous race. So McLaren, for the rest of this season, please, no more failures, no more weird moments in qualifying, and we should be gravy to have some really good battles now, because we are closing the gap now in the performance and reliability aspect of the car. But at this stage, Stoffel looks pretty much untouchable. 129.1 on the last lap. He was half a second faster than us, and I was going pretty much flat out. So yeah, Stoffel absolutely flying at this stage. We have a really bad run through Ascari chicane, and I think Alonso will get us back here on momentum, but getting a bit of a strategy change from Jeffy, saying intermediate tyres are the way to go. But in all honesty, I think it's too early. We haven't even had the notification from the game to say that DRS has been disabled. So until I get that message, I'm not coming in for a set of intermediate tyres. I feel like the best way to go about this right now is just to stick it out on the super soft tyres, because even if we pit now, pit onto intermediate tyres, we'll lose 20 seconds and then go onto a tyre that's only just as slow, if not slower, than the one that we're already on. So I feel like that's the best thing to do in these kind of situations. I've learned that the hard way in many online races now. So we're just going to stick it out. Alonso, great run through a Parabolica. I completely ran wide, but I have the straight line speed to get him back, so it's P2 again. And Van Dorn is completely running away with the Grand Prix. 5 seconds is the difference from us to him. So it's really, at this stage, all about maintaining P2 now. If we can get more points on Alonso, then that'll be absolutely amazing. And look at that, Jeff now gives me a suggestion for dry tyres again. So it really is teetering on that edge between intermediates and dry tyres at this stage. So literally flip a coin, and that's your race strategy for the Grand Prix. Alonso calls in for the pits now for a set of medium tyres, and he'll try and take those to the end if the track stays dry enough. But for us, we're going to respond possibly on this lap. Tyre wear looks absolutely atrocious. Look at the front right tyre, 81%. That's nearing on puncture territory. So we're definitely going to have to come in on this lap now, and we'll put on the soft compound tyres. I believe you can take the softs to the end of the Grand Prix from about lap 9, lap 10. So yeah, we'll see how we go. But that tyre wear on the front tyres was unbelievable. 80% on the fronts and not even 60% on the rears. That's literally all come from the lockups I've been doing over the course of this first stint. So yeah, I'll need to monitor that in this second stint. Otherwise, we may not make it to the end. I'll make a few changes to like the brake bias. I'll wind it back to the rear a little bit more, and also not apply too much more pressure into braking zones. I say that with a massive lockup into turn 1. So yeah, I'll really have to look after that now, because if I don't, we may not get to the end on these tyres. Team radio.
Some information on Alonso. They're slowing down. It seems like there's some kind of problem with their car.
I think I have an engine issue.
Back off, please. Back off. Okay.
I can't believe it.
Are you serious? Even for me at this point, this is getting a bit silly now. Issues for both the McLarens in Spa, and now Alonso is going pretty slow on this straight here. We use rich revs. We absolutely saw past him here, and that is P6. Effective P2 in the Grand Prix now. And that might be curtains for Alonso's championship. We'll have to wait and see, especially if he DNFs today.
How the hell they can overtake me? 300 meters behind me at the beginning of the straight. I never raced with less power in my life.
Yeah, Alonso's not happy either. He absolutely just got overtaken from miles back for me there. But yeah, if he fails to finish today, championship-wise, it's going to be a disaster. I think we're already leading by 10, 15, 20 points. I actually can't remember. It's actually been so long since I've checked the driver's standings. But yeah, what a championship. This is, you know, for both the McLarens to be second and third in the driver's standings in a car that is so fast is really just a tragedy for them. In all honesty, their consistency has been atrocious. But what can you do? I'm not going to pull over and let him go, am I? So I'm just going to keep on racing how I am, and we'll see how it goes. But for us in this Grand Prix, it looks like P2 is pretty settled now. Alonso falling back a little bit. I think he might have fell back in the clutches of the Mercedes and the Ferraris. So we'll have to check on his progress a little bit later. But we overtake Grosjean for P2. He still needs to make a stop in this race. So too with a few other guys who he just recently overtook. So yeah, there is a bit of a margin to the cars behind. And also with Van Dorn, you know, 20 seconds ahead, I think it is. Maybe even a little bit more. At 16 seconds. There isn't that much. It's virtual safety car. There isn't that much benefit in pushing like crazy, especially in the conditions that we're in at the moment. So for me, it really is just a case of bringing this home now, as Lewis Hamilton is out of the Grand Prix. Engine retirement for him. So yeah, that could easily be Fernando Alonso at any point here. So I think he's really just micromanaging this to get home to the end. Yes, I did say micromanaging. You remember that video I did a few weeks ago where I just could not stop saying that? Yes, I realise, and I don't know why I say certain words so much, but yeah, I'll try and avoid that in the future. But we're coming in now for a set of intermediate tyres now. We finally got to the point where the track got too wet and the DRS got disabled, so we're coming in straight away for a set of intermediate tyres. Only 4 laps to the end now. We're just playing it safe. I think Van Dorn is coming in for a set of intermediate tyres. I know a few other people in the midfield stopped for inters as well, so if the AI are doing it, then it's probably for the best that we do it as well. Like if the inters started to be faster around like lap 25, lap 26, it might have been worth stretching it out on dry tyres, but there was just too long to go in the race to risk it on a strategy like that, especially with Alonso having issues as it is. Probably best off to bank the 18 points we're going to get anyway, but yeah, for the rest of the race, we're just bringing it home, getting past the lap cars as well. Pascal Wehrlein being a bit of a mobile chicane in the chicane. And yeah, Stoffel Vandoorne wins the Grand Prix by an absolute mile. 20 seconds, I think, was the gap to him. Completely flawless drive from him. And he's really making a stamp at McLaren now to be, you know, equal driver status with Fernando Alonso. He is really closing the gap to second place in the driver's standings. But for us, it's P2, it's 18 points.
Great drive, great drive. We're really happy with that performance.
Our drivers are making their way out for the podium celebrations, and it's going to be McLaren picking up the winner's trophy. Congratulations to the entire team for that fantastic performance.
So Stoffel wins another race, yeah, and possibly makes his claim for second in the Drivers' Championship, maybe even a first-team driver for his team. So, yeah, it's been a real weird season. A season where battles have been few and far between. That's why some of these videos have been a little bit shorter, why we're getting double episode races sometimes, and yeah, the battling has been good, but it's been like the F1 2017 season itself. There hasn't been like enough of it, so yeah, I feel like it's a really weird dynamic. And again, I feel like we were a little bit robbed in Spa, where both the McLarens were down the order. It was a race where we would have been right on the pace with those guys, but they were starting down the order. Like for other races, we've just been not on the same level as McLaren, but we've been faster than everyone else. So in many ways, it's been a very frustrating season for me to take part in, despite leading the championship by 21 points. But guys, that has been this episode for today. Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe to the channel if you're new, to see plenty more F1 2017 videos. Yeah, if you could leave a like, that would really help me out, give me a bit more motivation to get these videos out a little bit more often. YouTube has just been really a bit crap the last few weeks. You know, no one's really tuning into F1 stuff as of late. You know, it's what happens this time of year with the F1 season dying down. So I've kind of just been taking things a little bit more chill, especially on the career mode side, and been focusing on the league racing stuff. But it's all going to pick up a little bit faster now that we're into February and building up to, you know, some new car launches for the real life season. Then once the new season starts, then it's pretty much all guns blazing with F1 stuff once again. So yeah, apologies about the lack of videos. It will pick up again fairly soon. But yeah, let's get this championship done. Let's move on to possibly a new career mode series on another game, which I'm really looking forward to. So keep an eye out for that. But first, let's get this one done, and let's get it done right by defeating both of those McLaren Hondas. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 races to go. Let's make the most of them, and hopefully have some good battles with both Stoffel, who is now a championship challenger now, well and truly, and Fernando Alonso, who's on a bit of a shaky run at the moment. But that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching. Until the next race, the Singapore Grand Prix. It's going to be McLaren OP heaven over there. So I'm kind of dreading it. But we'll see how it goes. And until then, I'll see you next time.